Thank you for listening to News Radio 710 WNTM. This hour here with John McNeil and Virginia McNeil O'Brien of McNeil, Ahrens, and Lambert Financial Group. McNeil, Ahrens, and Lambert Financial Group. You can find them online at malfinancial.com. That's malfinancial.com. You can call their office at 251-666-5000. That's 251-666-5000. Before we get started, I need to say that Ed Ahrens and Virginia McNeil O'Brien are investment advisor representatives with AE Wealth Management. Investment advisory services offered through AE Wealth Management, which is an SEC-registered investment advisor. Great to have you back in studio. By the way, you can watch us on the News Radio 710 WNTM Facebook page if you want to see video of the show. Ordinarily, when Ed Ahrens is here, we start with inspirational thoughts. Virginia, I understand you brought in some magnificent inspirational thoughts.
I do. We were talking about this in the last hour about Nick Saban, somebody that lots of people respect, look up to, and that kind of thing. And he's obviously known for his tight schedule. He keeps a tight ship, I guess is a better way to put it. And like I said, I was listening to the Bobby Bones show yesterday, and Bobby Bones was talking about this, and I thought it really resonated with what our message is about having a plan and things like that. He said, if you have a goal without a plan laid out to reach that goal, it's just a wish. So, and that makes perfect sense.
Please repeat the inspirational thought.
If you have a goal without a plan laid out to reach that goal, it's just a wish. And he went on to say, if you're willing to wish your future, if you have a goal for your future, if you're willing to wish on your future, just go throw a penny in the next mountain that you see. So when I heard that, I thought, wow, we talk about this all the time, about having a plan, having a finish point, and having a plan. That's what we do, is we map out a plan to get to that goal. And if you don't have a plan, again, you might as well just have a wish. People wish their wish might be to retire one day. Well, that can be a very reasonable goal if you have a plan. So I thought that was very inspirational. So if you're willing just to wish on your retirement, like Nick Saban says, go throw a penny in the next mountain that you see. But if you want it to become a goal if you want to reach that goal and accomplish that goal, have a plan laid out.
You have to have a plan. Just like we talk about, you have to have a plan, which is, essentially a roadmap on how to get to that end point. If you don't have a map, if you don't have Siri, like you were talking about earlier, if you don't have Siri telling you where to turn, sometimes it's hard to get to where you want to go. And if you don't have a plan laid out for your financial future, as Virginia said, for your retirement or whatever it may be, then it's hard to get there. And you may not know if you've gotten there, or you may not know if you can get there, unless the plan is specific. And that's what we've been doing at McNeil, Ahrens, and Lambert for 95 years, since 1922. It's very important to lay a plan out so that people can see exactly what we're doing, what we're recommending, why we're recommending it, and how those recommendations are going to get them to that end goal. Whether that goal is next month or next year or 5 years or 10 years down the road. We had some clients in yesterday afternoon for a review, and so because one of them was retiring also, but they wanted us to meet with one of their children, just starting out in the world with no plan. And it's,
right.
as Virginia tells people, it's never too early to start planning. Get in a habit of paying yourself first. So we deal with people in all age groups and generations of clients that we deal with. I mean, Virginia is dealing with some clients right now whose great-grandparents were clients of my grandfather or Virginia's great-grandfather, and we've helped all the generations along. And so it's very rewarding to us when we have people recommend their family and friends come see us. It means we've done something right, or like we talk about in our dinner meetings, we haven't done anything wrong.
Right.
And there's a difference, and we take pride in that.
Now the plan, you've got to have a plan, because a goal without plan is a wish, which I'm trying to memorize now from Nick Saban. The plan you're talking about, is it the same? Do you have a box full of the plan and you just hand the plan out when people come in? This is our patented plan?
No.
The plan is different?
Every single plan is totally different. when people come, and we show examples of it in our dinner meetings, but when they come in, we gather a lot of information from them. And then before the end of the first meeting, we show them examples of what they're going to see in their second meeting. And it takes their current portfolios, or their current, we call them buckets of money. Where are their investments? It may be an IRA, a 401k, a savings, or an investment account, their home, whatever it may be. We show all those buckets and where they are right now, because they bring statements to us, and so we dig into it. We show those buckets and how much of each one of the buckets are at risk, how much of the each bucket is, not at risk. We show what those buckets are doing currently, and on that same page, we show what our recommendations are to adjust those buckets to fit the plan that shows up on the second page, based on what they have told us they want to accomplish. We've got somebody coming in today who is coming in, getting ready to retire, and they've been clients for a number of years, and they're following the plan, and they've reached their goals sooner than expected. And so we're coming in to do one final adjustment to the plan because we're there.
They actually thought they weren't going to be able to retire until about 3 years from now, but because we've kept, when we design a plan for somebody or a family, we don't just design it and say, here you go, off on your merry way. It is, okay, here's the plan. This is where the plan starts. Now we're going to keep looking at ways to improve it, ways to adjust it. As things change and develop, and different things happen, that changes the plan. And so we've done that for about the last 10 years now, and she's ready to retire, and she can retire because she has surpassed that goal. So.
And we talk about in the plan, we talk about, when do we turn on Social Security? Do we turn on hers now and wait on his? Or we turn on his now and wait on hers? Do we turn on both of them? Do we turn on neither one of them? I mean, there's so many intricate details that are specific to the clients that come in. It can't be a one-size-fits-all. Every single plan is designed with different buckets trying to accomplish different things to reach the goals that we want. Even if somebody's already in retirement, but they don't have a plan. They just have these buckets.
Right.
And they're just living on the buckets. Well, that's not a very good plan to make sure your buckets don't run out, and to make sure that the goal you've wanted to reach is still going to be there 5, 10, 15, 30 years from now.
So the plans are different. You don't have a big box of plan that you hand out that everybody gets the same McNeil, Ahrens, Lambert plan. They're all highly individualized to each person's situation and their goals. Now, once I've got the plan and I've been using the plan for a few years, do I ever change the plan?
Always. The plan is always changing. Uncle Henry, when somebody comes to us and we lay it all out, here's our base plan. The end result is here. It may be next year or 5 or 10 years down the road or 15, whatever it may be. That's our end goal. Here's the plan on how to get there. But during that time frame, we're going to hit what we call bumps in the road. We may change jobs. We may get laid off. We may have a serious illness. We may inherit some money. We may want to upgrade to a bigger house. They're all kind of changes or bumps in the road that we're going to need to address. I need a new air conditioner, I need a new roof, whatever it may be. We design that into the plans because we don't know what those bumps in the road are going to be, how big the bump's going to be, and when the bump is going to happen. So each one of the plans addresses possible and probable bumps in the road. And it's very detailed, and it takes a while for people to grasp. But when they see it in that second meeting, and they see where they are now, what we recommend to adjust, and then on the second page showing them where they're going to derive their income, how much income they're going to derive every month for the rest of their lives, with an increasing income to make up for inflation, and what the end result's going to be, or what we call the legacy benefit. If we stick to this plan and we produce this kind of income, this is what your children or grandchildren, whoever, are going to inherit at some future date. We usually carry most people out to age 95, past 10 years past life expectancy, but that gap's closing. You know, Virginia's life expectancy is over 95 because of her age now. We're living longer.
Wow, congratulations.
Thank you.
So when we're sitting down talking to very young people, it's different than if we're sitting down talking to a couple that's 70 years old. But the plan is still going to address the same issues and concerns of everybody out there. The big thing about this, Uncle Henry, it doesn't cost anybody anything to come in and sit down and talk with us. Let us put together a plan. If they like it, we move forward. We go into what it costs. People are amazed at how little it costs for us to design, implement, and put in place a plan.
You're listening to McNeil, Ahrens, Lambert Financial Group. MALfinancial.com is the website. Telephone number 251-666-5000. 251-666-5000. We'll have more in just a moment here on News Radio 710 WNTF.
First house, last house, mid-south, court that side, porch, cul-de-sac, mid-south, court that brick house, townhouse, don't pay, court that dockside, poolside, outside, court that corner store, warehouse, mama's house, court that.
Tired of painting your home every 4 to 5 years? This is Kevin Mamahat, president of Mid-South Coatings. Better than paint, more durable than latex. Mid-South Coatings is the ultimate alternative to traditional paint. And with our lifetime warranty, you'll never have to paint your home again, guaranteed. If you live anywhere in the Gulf South, call for a free estimate. And since Mid-South Coatings is much thicker than paint, your home will look like it's just been freshly painted forever. So before you paint your home with traditional paint or any product, call Mid-South Coatings for a free estimate.
Call 251-272-4440. 272-4440. That's 272-4440.
Red, white, blaze, and blue, any color of the net, anywhere you're at, court this, go south, court that.
If you want a good night's sleep, you need a great mattress, and you'll find better mattresses at lower prices at Sleep Center in Mobile and on the Eastern Shore. Listen to these Independence Day money-saving deals. Sealy has their Any Size event. Buy a mattress set and you get any size at one low price. For example, the Sealy Plush. You can get that in any size, twin, full, queen, etc., at $199 each piece. And that's not all. You can save 10% on select Stearns & Foster mattresses with a free box spring and save up to $500 on Tempur-Pedic's Tempur-Breeze sets. Incredible mattresses, the Tempur-Pedics. And ask about the terrific financing available at Sleep Center. Sleep Center in Mobile, in McGowan Park next to Verizon Wireless, and on Airport Boulevard in the Esther Oak Shopping Center, and on the Eastern Shore in the Eastern Shore Center where Shoe Station used to be. You'll look at them online at sleepcenternow.net. Back here with McNeil, Ahrens, Lambert Financial Group, MALfinancial.com. John McNeil, Virginia McNeil O'Brien. Mentioned in the first segment of the show that the firm, McNeil, Ahrens, and Lambert Financial Group, around since 1922. Now, I look at our industry, the industry I'm in, and look at just the enormous... We're still in radio, but there's so many changes in the way that we do what we do. And that's so true of so many industries because of improvements in technology, things like that. Now, is it this... With your industry, do you still invest the way you did in 1922, or do you adapt? Do you do things differently from all those years ago?
You know, I'm going to let Virginia deal with most of the things in this particular segment, but in 1922, when my grandfather started the firm, there was no such thing as a mutual fund. Okay?
Okay.
Mutual funds were developed in 1924 because the market was doing this, but most everybody in 1922 had savings accounts. Everybody had a savings account. Very few people were investing in the market, but everybody wanted to get in the market. So they started in 1924, develop mutual fund companies. And that's when it started at that particular time. Things have changed drastically. And right after they've developed mutual funds, then you had the crash of 29
Right.
and 30 and that type of thing. So when we look at have things changed, yes. And Virginia's going to talk a little bit about diversification and are you investing like you did in 1950, in the 1950s.
Okay.
And the reason we talk about the 1950s is that there was something that was developed in 1952 called the modern portfolio theory. And that is still the basis for the majority of people's investing philosophy. It was developed in 1952, and it is known as the modern portfolio theory.
This is something you've never brought up before, at least while I've been on the show.
Well,
So I'm ready.
It's in 1952 when these gurus designed the modern portfolio theory. It was, and people have heard about it. It's the put 60% of your money in stocks and 40% in equities and buy and hold and let's go. Well, in 1952, where interest rates were, and from then to now, interest rates hit all kind of highs and bonds were paying all kind of great returns and the market went nuts and going crazy. But is that still a modern portfolio? So we look at where we go from here as far as designing a portfolio.
Yeah, and when we look at, it used to be, like I said, a 40-60 blend, so to speak. 40% stock, 60%, depending on what your age was, and you tried to blend it to what your age was. More the older you got, the more bonds you had, and the younger you were, the more risk you could take with having stocks. Because bonds back in the 1950s were believed to be totally safe. Because who in the 1950s would have thought that a government-backed security could be anything but 100% guaranteed?
Right.
Not to say that they're not 100% guaranteed, because to be honest, if a government-backed security goes belly up, then you've got a lot bigger problems on your hand than just bonds. But anyway, when you look at that in today's world, it just doesn't match up. It just because you put money in a bond today, you are going to quote unquote get your money back as far as that goes, because of the yields are guaranteed as far as that's concerned, or they're at least you expect them to be, but there is some, I shouldn't say they're guaranteed, there is some risk that they would fail. If you have bonds that go bankrupt, and things
City
like
of Birmingham sewer bond, yeah.
Yeah, they go bankrupt, so they're not contractually guaranteed, but you think of them as being very safe, when you think of the word bond. When we look at that style of investing back in 1952, when the modern portfolio theory was developed, 1952, it's a long time ago. We're in 2017.
Absolutely.
So when you look at, do we still drive the same cars we did in 1952? No. There's a lot of, in 1952 we didn't have cell phones, computers,
right,
things like that. So when we look at updating, it's a really big part of it, because now the modern portfolio theory, it does not really, it's not the most efficient, in our opinion. It's not the most efficient way of doing things, because it's not, it hasn't modernized. And some things that...
The modern portfolio theory is not modern anymore.
No, it's not.
Right.
Okay. Sorry to interrupt.
No,
it's funny that that's the name of it when it isn't actually modern.
Well, and another thing on the same lines that Virginia was talking about, in the 50s, 60s, and 70s, when you lump all that in there, it was totally different than it is right now. And the big reason, or some of the big reasons, think of the internet. I mean,
Right.
if Donald Trump has some kind of mishap in Paris tonight at the Eiffel Tower, what's the market going to do? I mean, 2 years ago, there was rumor that Barack Obama got the flu. You had a flash crash, 300 points, just because instant news. We didn't have any of that. Even in the 1970s, we didn't have any of that. Now we have huge sums of money moving in and out of the market every minute of every day. We didn't have that back then. So things have changed.
Yeah. Now when we look at a truly modern portfolio based on, modern day, 2017, we look at, instead of just stocks and bonds, we look at 3 different asset classes. And when you have different asset classes, you have true diversification, and that's really important. When you think about stocks and 401ks, people say, "Oh, diversification. I'm diversified if I'm in a whole bunch of different mutual funds." Well, Not the case necessarily, because you can be in 10 different mutual funds, and let's say, Uncle Henry, you're you're conservative moderate investor, okay? So you're in all of these conservative, moderately conservative funds, different mutual funds in
And
your 401k.
when we use the word conservative in the financial sense, we mean I don't like to take risk.
You don't like to take as much risk. So you're in more conservative type things. Well, if all of those funds have a goal of being moderately conservative, don't you think they're probably going to be investing in a lot of the same things?
Of course.
Right. So you have a lot of overlap. So then you're in 10 different mutual funds that are all investing in virtually the same thing. So you really don't have a lot of diversification. So that's something really important to think about that we point out. But the 3 different asset classes that we look at are, stocks and ETFs and mutual funds and things like that. Alternative investments, things like, and they aren't for everybody, but real estate, commodities, things like that. And then contractually guaranteed income, because the first 2, the stocks and alternative investments, aren't contractually guaranteed. If you have an investment property that you pay $100,000 for, it's not guaranteed that you're going to make a profit on that. You have no idea. Now, it might be a no-brainer to somebody depending on what the investment is, but there's always a possibility that you could lose money on that. So it's not guaranteed that you're going to make money on it. So having that guaranteed aspect as part of the portfolio is incredibly important, because that gives you that guaranteed leg as far as that goes. So if the other 2 are down for a couple of years, or they're not doing as well, they're not performing as well, you at least have that third leg that is sort of your tried and true. You know what it's doing, and it's guaranteed, and you know it's not going to lose, and things like that.
Very, very important. When we look at looking at where we go as far as putting together a portfolio, looking at those 3 that Virginia just mentioned, stocks, alternative investment, and contractually guaranteed accounts, it becomes very important in the plan. And we show that when we look at what's going on. It's amazing how when people come in, they bring in their statements, and a lot of people who are still working, fortunately, they're involved in a 401k. You probably have one through iHeart, and you go online and look at your 401k, and you've probably got
Right.
a list of 20, 25, maybe 30 different mutual funds you can invest in. I will bet you anything you want to that you probably don't know that if you pick ABC Mutual Fund to put some of your money into, you don't know what's in that mutual fund.
No.
You have no clue.
Because it says target date 2040 or target date 2030. So what does a target date 2030 fund invest in?
Right, you don't know, and nobody knows what they've got. We have people who come in and bring in their brokerage account. They don't know why they're invested the way they're invested, it's just the way they're invested. So we break down and looking at maybe a very good portfolio. We're going to keep them there. We had people in yesterday that they transferred their account to us. They're still invested the way they were because there wasn't anything wrong with it. But we look at it overall. The other things that have changed is that in the amount of options, the number of stocks that you can invest in has changed drastically. So when we look at a mutual fund, is nothing other than you pooling your money with other people, and a mutual fund manager, is going out and buying stocks, and they may have 1,000 stocks in a mutual fund. Okay, he manages that. Well, in 1996, there were 8,025 stocks you can invest in. Okay, there were 8,025 in 1996. We're talking about U.S. domestic stocks. In 2016, there were 4,101. Half the number of companies you could go buy. I think the Dow Jones 30 is only 2 of the original Dow 30 that's still in the Dow 30. The rest of them gone out of business.
Right.
Well, where's all the other equity out there? If we got less than half of the number of stocks available to be publicly traded, we're talking about privately owned companies which control more money than the publicly traded companies. If you say, well, what companies are you talking about? Uber, IKEA, huge, big numbers out there. You're going to IKEA tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
Great company. But there's so many more of those companies you can't invest in, but they control a huge segment of our investment, our equities out there. In at the end of 2016, 7 months ago, there were 9,511 U.S.-based mutual funds, okay? And those 9,511 were buying those 4,101 stocks, okay? So you see how the overlap comes into play. But those 9,500 mutual funds had a value of $16.34 trillion. Huge numbers. If you're investing in that way, you need to know what you're investing in. Like Virginia said, not just a 20-30 fund or whatever it may be.
We need to take a break here for weather and news. We'll have more in a moment. McNeil, Ahrens, and Lambert Financial Group, malfinancial.com. Call them at 251-666-5000. That's 251-666-5000. More in a moment.
This is the Bloomberg Market Minute. Fed Chair Janet Yellen back once again today on Capitol Hill. Investors increasingly expect a slower pace of interest rate increases after Yellen's remarks yesterday. We are seeing stocks slightly higher. Halliburton expects a spike in oil prices by 2020. The world's biggest fracking provider said tumbling oil prices has forced the industry to slash about $2 trillion in investments. Those cuts will weigh heavily on the market in a few years when oil supplies fail to keep up with demand. Delta's forecast disappointing investors this morning. Revenue for each seat flown a mile, that's a key measure for the industry, will rise by 4.5% or less in the current quarter. Analysts had estimated a gain of as much as 5% on improving demand for pricey last-minute tickets and a tailwind from this year's decline in jet fuel costs. Kentucky Fried Chicken launched a new online merchandise shop, KFC Limited. The debut collection includes KFC and Colonel Sanders-inspired items such as fried chicken socks and Colonel Sanders pillowcases. Courtney Donahoe, Bloomberg Radio.
Gulf Coast weather from Local 15 and the Gemco Metal Buildings Weather Center.
Hello and happy Thursday. I'm meteorologist Jake Dunn with Local 15 News. We've got showers and storms in the forecast this afternoon. They will fall apart as we head towards sunset. Today's high up around 90. Maybe a storm tonight. Chance is pretty small, low around 74. Then it's low 90s on Friday with, you guessed it, another risk of rain, mainly during the afternoon. I'm meteorologist Jake Dunn for this iHeart radio station.
This report is brought to you by Always Money. Get the cash you need fast with Always Money Cash Advance. Simply write a personal check or they'll print one for you and get the cash you need until your next payday. Bank account required. Use payday advances responsibly. Always Money.
I'm here with John McNeil of McNeil, Ahrens, Lambert Financial Group. John, what's the most important thing you and the other partners at McNeil, Ahrens, and Lambert do for your clients?
Uncle Henry, I think two of the most important things we do is, one, design a comprehensive plan for their retirement, which includes where their money should be invested and how much and how long their income will last. Most people that come to us have never had a written plan. We call this your retirement roadmap, and it costs nothing for us to design a plan specifically for you. Number two, I think educating them on how our plan we designed for them will address their two biggest fears, which are running out of money and how to pay for long-term care. Our plans address these and other concerns they may have.
If you want to find out more, call McNeil, Ahrens, and Lambert at 666-5000. That's 251-666-5000, or find out more online. The website is malfinancial.com.
Not available in all states. Hey, Tracy, heard you started your own business.
Yep, a Reese and Irvy's frozen yogurt vending franchise. It's the latest revolution in healthy frozen yogurt. My robots...
Wait, your robots?
Yep, my robots deliver 7 flavors of delicious and healthy frozen yogurt to customers in high-traffic locations. And Reese and Irvy's provides everything we need to succeed.
And the robots do the work?
They work so I don't have to.
How can I get my own robots?
Simply go to froyofranchising.com, enter promo code 9999, and submit your information. That's froyofranchising.com, promo code 9999.
Take care of your skin. See Dr. Thomas Bender at Advanced Dermatology and Skincare Center. Dr. Bender sees patients in Mobile, Daphne, and Bay Minette. Find out more online at advanceddermclinic.com.
Celebrate your independence with a safe from Mike Ward's Liberty Safes. Come by the Mobile store for instant savings up to $1,000 off on select Liberty models in stock with 0% interest for 12 months with approved credit. Right now, also receive a free accessory up to $50 with every Liberty Safe purchase. It's service after the sale at Mike Ward's Liberty Safes with free delivery up to 50 miles. Why go anywhere else? Just look for the giant Liberty Safe at exit 5B, I-65 and Moffett in Mobile. Call 471-1137.
Friends, are you taking Viagra for ED? Well, you could be paying too much. Now you can take sildenafil, the active ingredient in Viagra, for just $2 per tablet. $2 for a 20-milligram tablet, saving $40 per dose. Marley Drug is a North Carolina pharmacy delivering sildenafil to your doorstep. Go to marleygenerics.com. That's M-A-R-L-E-Y, marleygenerics.com. Or call 1-800-578-1640. That's 1-800-578-1640.
For more information about contests on this station, go to newsradio710.com/rules.
Fox News Radio, I'm Lillian Wu in Paris. A welcome for President Trump. He and the First Lady met with President Macron and his wife, the two men holding a bilateral meeting later in the day. President Trump will be the guest of honor at the Bastille Day military parade tomorrow to mark the 100th anniversary of the U.S. entry into World War I. Here at home, Senate Republicans set to reveal their plan to repeal and replace Obamacare, pushing toward a showdown vote next week.
Arizona Senator John McCain, talking to our colleague Peter Ducey moments ago, sounded pretty pessimistic.
It should have gone through the committees of oversight so that the Democrats had a role to play, and then we probably could have gotten this thing done.
Democrats are hoping to force Republicans back to the negotiating table.
Fox's Mike Emanuel. Fox News, we report, you decide.
Back here on News Radio 710 WNTM with John McNeil, Virginia McNeil O'Brien, McNeil, Ahrens, and Lambert Financial Group. You can find them online, malfinancial.com. Telephone number 251-666-5000. That's 251-666-5000. In the last segment of the show, we were talking about how investing is different now compared, that you do things differently now than you did in 1950 or 1922. Just based on the changes in the landscape. Is there anything you want to add to that before we move on?
Yeah, just a thought. You know, we talk about a lot of times, especially in our dinner seminars and when we meet with new clients, you know, a lot of times we offer what we call a second opinion. And just like back in 1922 or 1950, if you were sick, or if you had cancer, or if you had, you know, appendicitis, they would treat, doctors in 1950, the operations and the treatment for those kind of things were a lot different than they are today. And I'm not sure that if something was wrong with you, if you wanted to, I don't know that you would maybe really want to step back in time for certain things. Now, some people say, oh, you know, the glory days. On some things maybe, but when it comes to, you know, your health, your financial well-being, you don't necessarily want to step back in time.
No, look, my TV is too good now.
Right.
For football.
Yeah.
So I want to keep going with being able to see football in my living room. So no time travel.
So when we look at things like that, and kind of jokingly, but on a serious note, you know, when it comes to finance and your financial well-being, you know, getting a second opinion on making sure that you have a modernized portfolio. It doesn't mean it needs to be more risky or more aggressive or anything like that. But on the contrary, you need to make sure that it is invested in a way that actually fits your risk tolerance and is actually updated and constantly monitored. So that's a really big thing, you know, and that's what we talk about a lot as far as getting a second opinion. You know, if you were diagnosed with something, or if the doctor told you something was wrong, or if you thought something was wrong, you'd probably get a second opinion.
Of course.
You know, so that's just something that we really like to harp on and make sure that that's, you know, something that people are aware of, that they can actually get. They can get a second opinion on their finances.
When you were talking in the last segment, and you mentioned bonds, did I detect that you're not a fan of bonds? I don't know that we've ever talked about that on the air before. Is there? Am I right that you're not? You don't love bonds?
Well, there are different portfolios that bonds fit very well with. In today's interest rate environment, bonds may not be the best fit for certain portfolios. That's up to Virginia when she designs the portfolio, whether bonds or bond funds are appropriate. The reason is most people who own bonds kind of know the correlation between interest rates and bonds. If you've got interest rates where they are today and they go interest rates, the Feds raise rates, the value of your bond is going to go down. And the longer period of time it is between the time interest rates rise and the maturity of that bond, the bigger effect on the value of that bond it will have. For example, if you buy a bond today that is paying you a 3% coupon, okay, you earn 3% on your bond for the next 30 years, okay, and you put $1,000 in that bond. You wait 30 years, you're going to get your $1,000 back, and you're going to be earning that 3% coupon. However, if interest rates go from 3%, next year interest rates go up, and now they're offering bonds that are paying 4% for the next 30 years, well, somebody's not going to pay you $1,000 for a 3% bond when they can buy a new bond for $1,000 paying 4%. So if you have to sell your bond before maturity, 30 years out, then you're not going to get your $1,000 back if you had to sell it. Now, the intent where you don't invest the bond if you think you're going to have to sell it, but that's what happens. If interest rates go up, the value of the bond goes down. Newsflash, yesterday, it hit the wire yesterday, Bank of Canada raised rates. Our Fed, they didn't raise the rates, but Bank of Canada raised interest rates 1/4 point to 0.75%. Headlines, Canadian bonds tumble after Bank of Canada raises rates. There it is, raising 25 basis points, value of existing bonds go down about 1.25%. Well, that's a risk. It's called an interest rate risk. So when we look at where do we put together a portfolio for the, quote, guaranteed part of it or the income part of it, we're using a lot of times what we've talked about on this show for the last 20-something years, Uncle Henry. We're using the indexed annuities. This is a client's annual statement right here we just got in. She's earning a guarantee of 5%. Guaranteed 5%. Plus whatever the index earns. And in this particular case, the indexes, and she's got her money divided between 9 different indexes. Just split up equally among 9 different indexes, just like you have your 401k invested in 9 different mutual funds. She's got her money in this annuity, and we've tied her earnings to 9 different indexes, including London spot gold price. The NASDAQ 100, the S&P 500, the S&P Mid-Cap 400, the Dow Jones, all these different, the average of the Dow Jones, all these different indexes, because we don't know which one's going to perform the best. But overall, her index gains during this last year were, here it is, 8.4%. So her account went up, her cash account went up by 8.4%. But the income account that Virginia was talking about earlier, if we want to design a portfolio to provide income somewhere down the road, went up by 13.4%. Guarantee of 5 plus whatever the index did. And once that's credited on each anniversary, that goes, her account is there, and it can't, if the market goes down and the indexes lose money this next year, she doesn't lose any of that. It's all contractually guaranteed inside the account. No fees, no charges. It's just there to be used as something. She put this money in 2013. She put $225,000 in, and now she has $312,643.85. So that's protected. No market risk as far as the index is going down. You don't lose anything. So there are appropriate places for bonds. But in most cases, when we have a better option with more guarantees, we're going to go that route and put it in there. And then again, we're going to show them why, how it's going to benefit them, how it fits into the plan, and how it's that one of the legs, one of the buckets in the overall plan. So there's nothing wrong with bonds. We're not here to say, boo bonds, but there are some other alternatives out there.
You're listening to McNeil, Ahrens, Lambert Financial Group, malfinancial.com. You can call them at 251-666-5000. That's 251-666-5000. Back with more in just a moment.
For more information about contests on this station, go to newsradio710.com/rules.
Does your patio furniture need a makeover? Are you tired of uncomfortable, low-quality furniture on the deck? Then come see Coastal Patio Warehouse during the summer clearance event going on now. Specializing in commercial and residential patio furniture. You'll find them on Lakeside Drive in Mobile, between Cottage Hill and Highway 90, less than 1 mile from I-65. Their warehouse showroom has the largest patio selection on the Gulf Coast. They manufacture frames and cushions right here in Mobile, so they can sell at the very best price to you. See coastalpatiowarehouse.com and at 751 Lakeside Drive.
Let me surprise you with an interesting fact. You ready? Of all the media options today, AM/FM radio reaches the most people each week. Yeah, you heard me right. Radio is the leader. AM/FM. 93% of Americans listen to AM/FM radio every week. That's bigger than TV, newspapers, even Google and Facebook. If you're a marketer and you need to improve your plans, remember, radio.
Don't do what I did and run out. If it's working, don't quit. Why would you stop? Why undo all the good that's been accomplished?
You've got to feed them right for life.
Dynavite is nutrition.
If I ever took Roy off of Dynavite...
No.
When I get to about 3/4...
When I get down to the bottom of my box of Dynavite, oh no, I've got a couple more scoops. It's time to place my order. Dynavite.com. DINOVITE.com.
859-428-1000.
Order a 90-day supply of Dynavite for your dog this week.
We'll send you a bottle of Licochaps free.
New improved Licochaps with omega-6, omega-3, vitamin E.
And now 6 extra direct-fed microbials.
Even better for the digestive tract and immune system.
Try Licochaps.
Free this week at Dynavite.com.
Just feed your dog right. Use Dynavite.
Dynavite for life.
859-428-1000.
859-428-1000.
DINOVITE.com.
I met someone. You hear it a lot from people on Match because more people have met their someone on Match than on any other dating app. Everyone wants to find that meaningful connection, and Match is not only #1 in first, but second dates, too. Now, here's a free offer for our listeners. Go to Match.com/AM for 7 days free. That's 7 days completely free to search, view photos, and connect. This free offer is found at Match.com/AM. That's Match.com/AM. Match.com/AM.
Back here with McNeil, Ahrens, Lambert Financial Group, malfinancial.com. Telephone number 251-666-5000 if you want to get in touch with the people at malfinancial.com. Here with Virginia McNeil O'Brien, John McNeil. Now, several times a year, McNeil, Ahrens, Lambert Financial Group has informational dinner meetings where you have an opportunity to meet the people of McNeil, Ahrens, and Lambert. I know you've got a couple of them set up for July 20th and 25th.
That's right.
And you're going to do these this month out at Winsel's on Airport Boulevard.
That's correct. Yeah. Well, the last ones we did were at Ralph and Keiku's, so on the Causeway, so a little more east. And this we try to switch it up so that everybody in the area can be a little more convenient for everybody. So this time we're doing it a little more West Mobile and going out to the Winsel's on Airport. So we do have a few spots left. I'm pretty sure that the 20th is just about filled up, if it's not filled up already. But we do have a few spots on the July 25th, which is a Tuesday night.
Now, this is not where people can just show up. They need to RSVP. Right. You need to get your name on a list.
Right. Yeah, you have to RSVP. You can't just show up. But in order to RSVP, you just call our office and talk with Grace. You can just hit 240 or just 0 and talk to Grace, and she'll get you registered and signed up. And when we have these informational dinners, they're really just that. There's nothing for sale. There's nothing
No commitment.
No commitment. Yeah, it's just an informational dinner to introduce ourselves. You're going to be there, which is always
Yes.
a plus.
Well,
I think that's why most people come is to see
No, it
Uncle
is
Henry.
not.
Yeah,
Look,
there
I'm
are some people that want to see him in the flesh.
Yes.
I'm just there at the very, very beginning, and I stick around though to hear everything that is said. And a thing to also remember when you're there having dinner is you're not being. They mention no commitment. You're also not being sold anything. This is more where you get to hear about the lives of each of the people at McNeil, Ahrens, and Lambert Financial Group. You explain that the reason you do this is because when somebody becomes a client, you learn everything about them.
We have to, Uncle Henry. It's very hard for us to put together a plan and make recommendations unless we know everything.
Everything, yeah.
All your bucket, your family. Well, do we have a special needs child? Do we want to set up some education fund for the grandchildren? All these different things
Right.
are part of it.
So this is a way for you, the potential client, to learn all about the lives of these people. You not only do you tell about your lives, but you also talk about your philosophies and the way you do what you do.
Right, the holistic approach. Looking at everything is the majority of our planning, because people, when they become a client, they realize, wow, we should have done this a long time ago. Literally, we have people who have listened to this show for so many years and heard us, I think 26 years now, Uncle Henry.
Wow.
And they come to us finally. We've got a meeting in 2 weeks with somebody, their second meeting, who's been listening to us almost their entire time here in Mobile, and waited till he retired to call us. Well, that's fine, but we could have been putting things in play before then.
Yes.
All along, getting ready for this day.
Well, one of the things is you talk about putting things in play years before you retire. One of the things that Virginia brings up that was so eye-opening to me that I'd never realized, Virginia has explained in previous dinner meetings financial fees and how they work.
Mm-hmm.
And you've shared examples of people that were paying enormous thousands of dollars on a yearly basis for years when they could have done some things differently and not had to pay all those thousands of dollars. It's a great way to learn at least about how the financial industry works.
Yeah, there's so many things. There's those commercials on TV where there's the little I can't remember what brokerage house put big brokerage house put out this commercial where it's this little kid and he's on his way to the financial planner's office with his dad or something, and they're going and the little kid says, well, if they don't do a good job, do you get your money back? And the guy says no, and he's asking all these questions, and the dad doesn't know the answer to any of his questions that are really obvious, like how much does it cost, and what happens if it's if you lose money and things like that. And that's something that we try to pride ourselves in being very transparent. We try to really open up all of the, every single instance and all the different questions. And we even try to address questions before they even have to be asked. A lot of times we bring up in the meetings, we'll say, okay, now we want to address something that, some people don't like to ask, but everybody's always wondering, and that is, how we get paid. And that almost every single time they say, oh, I was just about to ask that, but I didn't know how to ask it.
Right.
Because it's just something, money is something that is, people try to be so polite about.
Right.
When you're with when you're with some, you don't want to ask, how much is it, or what does it cost, and those kind of things, because it comes off, they think it comes off in the wrong way. Well, it's your money, and you should know how much it's costing.
But this all ties into how you can call when you wait to call until you retire, but you could save yourself a lot of money just in fees by getting in touch with you years ahead of time. You may be paying a lot of fees you don't even know you're paying.
Exactly, and there's so many things that people don't realize, like taking distributions from your 401k and roll them to an IRA even before you retire. People don't realize they can move money out of their 401k. Like for your example, you have like 20 or so different options in your 401k. Well, if you move some of your 401k to an IRA, you've got unlimited options. You can invest in virtually anything. But you have to be 59 and a half in order to do that, or retire, one of the two. So people do that. This time of year, we have a lot of new clients that are with the RSA. A lot of school teachers.
Oh, okay.
You know, they get paid through June.
Yeah, so usually they're paid through July. Usually their last day, when a teacher retires, usually their last day is like July 30th.
They get paid
July
through
30th,
July
yeah.
30th.
Yeah.
So we're dealing with a lot of people, helping them do their RSA paperwork, what to do with their RSA 1. It may be they're fortunate enough to be in the DROP program, which no longer exists, but people still have a lot of money in the DROP program. What do you do with that? So we're very familiar with all of those type things, as well as federal government TSP.
Yeah.
Postal workers. We've got some great clients that were retired letter carriers. And there's some great benefits for federal employees that we're familiar with all of those plans. And a lot of the big corporations around here, they're different plans. They're defined benefit plan. They're, do you take the annuity from your defined benefit plan, or do you roll out the lump sum to an IRA? We analyze all of that and show them exactly which option, or maybe a combination of the two, which we've got a client that we're doing that with.
So you just a lot of great information at those dinner meetings, and you can call 666-5000, 251-666-5000. Get your name on the list for one of those dinner meetings, and you have them throughout the year, different times.
Yeah, we'll have some more next month and the month after that. And we took a little break here at the first part of the summer. I wanted to everybody thought of my voicemail, I was out for those last 2 weeks. Everybody thought I was on vacation. They called me up saying, I know you're out somewhere having a lot of fun, and I'm laid up in a hospital, So, but we're back in full swing now.
Well, laid up in a hospital, you're okay? You're okay enough to be on the radio?
I'm okay, doing great. I've had great caretakers at the hospital, and my wife of 36 years has been taking good care of me, and Virginia was taking care of me. Everybody was taking care of me.
Very good.
Today's the first time I've driven.
I know. Watch out, Mobile.
Well, he made it here in the early morning hours just fine.
Yeah, that's true.
He should be okay. All right, well, we've got about a minute left, so people can find out more information at malfinancial.com about you. There's a video there at your website people can look at to learn about your lives.
And you're in the video.
I'm in the video.
Quotes from Uncle Henry in
you
there,
can
too.
also, well, there were quotes I think that Ed Ahrens gave me, so I'm quoting Ed Ahrens. Now, you also have a newsletter that you send out via email.
They go out every Thursday.
Every Thursday.
So today is
Thoughts for Thursday.
Thoughtful Thursday.
Thoughtful Thursday.
And we not only is there information, up-to-date information in the emails, we also get to see what you're up to.
Yep.
Are we going to see where Ed Ahrens is in this email?
That's this week. Yeah, you get to see some pictures on that. So that newsletter will be going out today.
Yeah, and we like to keep things personal. We're talking about heavy stuff, and we're talking about financial planning and investing and those type of things. We like to keep it personal also.
McNeil, Ahrens and Lambert Financial Group, malfinancial.com, 251-666-5000. Roll Tide.
Roll Tide.